Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, world, everybody. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Spotify. Did I miss anybody? I think I did. All streaming platforms, man. Good morning, man. And welcome to Real Talk with MRK. I'm Martez Raphael Kirkland. And hey, you were here with me, and we were on my podcast, and we are here the day after Valentine's Day. To all y'all lovebirds out there, or if you just participating in the festivities of what Valentine's Day is all about. Welcome to Coffee in the Morning with your boy. I got my coffee, and I hope y'all got yours. Yes, I got my Detroit mug, coffee mug, and I guess I got my Michigan gear on with my shirt and my hat. Thanks to my girlfriend Chastine Isom. Really appreciate that. Came through, man. Hey, it is the little things that counts. You know, I'm a type of brother, man. I don't need extravagant, big, expensive gifts, what I'm saying, to woo me or to know that, what I'm saying, you are thinking of me or, you really care for me. I'm not that type of person, never have been, not a really much about that. I think that stuff is kind of minute in the scheme of things and in the life that we live. So the little things that count, a nice Detroit coffee mug. Yes, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. And yes, I am a Michigan Wolverines fan, which we should have been on top of the world, on top of the football world. We won a national championship and we were one of the last four teams standing in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm on my pedestal right now. Yes, we was 0-16 before in our history. Yes, we still have never been to the Super Bowl, but look like Detroit Lions are on the up and up, and I think they're gonna start to really show, what I'm saying, the hard work that they've been putting in with the new staff, new coach, and new owner and all that good stuff. So big ups to the Detroit Lions and the Michigan Wolverines, baby. Yes, I'm a true fan to yes indeed, to the heart. Man, you guys already know, if you have been on my or tuned into my show before, this is what I do, man. We real talk. We discuss a whole bunch of array of different topics. A whole array. We have honest opinion conversations from my perspective, from whoever guest is on my show, from their perspective, and we give you our honest opinion about what we're talking about, and also we share our experiences, and we do have little segments in where they're different. The morning inspiration is always first, since it's I ain't gonna say top of the morning, but midday morning. I got started a little bit late because finish up a I had to finish up a project for my 6 year old. So I ran out of ink in my printer, color ink. So I had to go to Staples to get what I needed to print out, and so I could finish her poster board. Her project is a Black history project. They had to do poster boards and select um, a Black uh, person that has some big influence in the world, in the community, and she selected Soledad O'Brien. So we finished that up, and I just dropped it off at the school. So hey, if you're a parent, you're a father, you're a mother, you know how it go. This is my fourth time around, so I've done this before. But let's go ahead and get started, man. I'm your host, Martez Raphael Kirkland. If you didn't know, you just tuning in. Welcome to Real Talk with MRK, and let's get started. So today's morning inspiration is, and I usually pick a quote for the morning inspiration, and the quote is, "When you give joy to other people, you get more joy in the return. When you give joy to other people, you get more joy in return." And what does that mean to me? Meaning, when you give back to others, when you do things for people, when you allow yourself to be a vessel for them in a way that is positive, you open up the floodgates for yourself. You open up doors of opportunity. You open up blessings. You open up favor that comes upon you by doing so. Opening up your heart, your mind, your soul, and just being able to be a giving force in the world that we live in. It is an absolute powerful thing. Giving it takes a lot of selflessness. It takes you out of the selfishness. It takes you because you are in a mindset of thinking about others and doing for others, regardless of what position that you even may excuse me, you even may be in. You're able to allow yourself to open up for new opportunities and new blessings. I'm 100% believer of when you give back to others and you do for others, and it doesn't have to mean, I'm not talking about money and monetarily. It could just mean your time. It can mean your 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 experience, your knowledge, your giving back to them in a way of giving them good, great advice, friends, family, a stranger. You never know, what where that leads you and how it would lead you and what doors it would open up for you. I know in my lifetime and ever since I've been maybe from a young adulthood, I always have that sense of awareness of trying to do right by people, giving them, I guess, as much as I possibly can, with my resources and knowledge and things that I have, and I pretty much I believe I'm doing that. You know what I'm saying? I went into um the path of, giving back to young men, giving back to kids. I'm not perfect. I definitely wasn't a perfect kid or a perfect teenager. I'm a man. I'm just human, just like you guys. There's nothing um extraordinary, I would say, about me. But I just always had a mindset of, and I think I get it from my parents because my parents are so giving, and through their works and the things that they do and how they take their passions and are able to still do the things that they love to do, but also give back to others. My mother, and along with my late aunt, rest in peace, they founded, which is called the Ida Mae Wellness Center. The Ida Mae Wellness Center is named after my grandmother that died of lung cancer. And I'm sorry if I get this wrong. I believe she's passed in 87 or 88. I was at the age of 9 years old. So my mother, she is the youngest of eight children, and she found it upon her heart to be able to come up and found the Ida Mae Wellness Cancer Center, which is based in Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's where my father and my mother lives at right now. My dad retired as a Marine, and they've been based down there ever since. And that's what she does is, and what they do is, their mission is to give back to families that suffer or loved ones have suffered and going through the treacherous, road of either trying to survive cancer or they have had a loved one that has passed on from cancer. So my mother gives back to the community and to anyone that is willing to accept the services of the Ida Mae Wellness Center. She gives back in a way of being able to help thrive, heal, cope, and there's mechanisms that that they provide, the services they provide. They provide education for all types of cancers, and it's not solidified to one cancer. And throughout the community in Jacksonville, North Carolina, they, because it's a 503, nonprofit organization, so they have to do fundraisers, and they don't get, I would say, they don't bring in a revenue to where they're living, they're making like a whole bunch of money off of this. This is what she found in her heart, her and my dad, and now my dad is retired the second time, and this is his mission too, along with my mother, um, to in a way to honor my grandmother, Ida Mae, and to be able to service to those that need to know how to cope and deal with cancer. How do you deal with that? Because cancer always, and just in the world in general, cancer has affected so many people's lives. Whether you suffered from it or whether you know somebody that has suffered from it, a loved one, a friend, an associate, an acquaintance, and cancer pretty much it it dictates, so much of our lives. So that right there, when you give joy to other people, you give more joy in return. And it may not be so much of restoring joy, because joy, as far as if a loved one has passed on because of cancer, but my mother and the Ida Cancer Center, they're able to bring people together that are going through the same type of things and same issues. Because when you're dealing with things by yourself, it is hard to get through it, right? It's hard to get through it. But when you find and you know people and you surround yourself around those that are going to similar situations, sometimes just being around that and knowing that you're not alone is it helps you through. It helps you heal too. So they have services where they provide that for coping, healing, understanding, fellowship, and of course it's led by God, Jesus Christ. Absolutely. My parents are definitely God fearing people, and man, I believe my mother and my father was talking yesterday about, I believe it's the Ida Mae Cancer Center has been there in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I think they said 15 years, going on 15 years. And any type of business and establishment, the first 3 to 4 years is the hardest, and a lot of businesses fail. And that right there is a testament to what they do for the community, what they give back. And it goes back on what I was saying. When you do things like that, God, you're going to be blessed. More opportunities are going to open up for you. And my mom always told me, when you do things and anything that you do, if you do it the right way, you will be blessed. However, that blessing comes. A lot of people look at it. A lot of people think blessings are monetarily and money wise. We all want to be wealth and have generational wealth and have money and everything. And I've learned a long time ago that those are not, truthfully, money is not always a blessing. Sometimes it can be a demise of you, because what money does is money is going to tell you, I guess money is going to show you who you really are when you do get it. So sometimes, counting money as, oh, I'm blessed because I have money. I mean, that could be part of it, but I don't look at that. But again, the inspiration of the morning, and so I can stay on point, is when you give joy to others and you give back to whoever, you can find joy in that. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't plan to speak on Automate Center, and I know you guys like I'm plugging I didn't. A lot of stuff when I come on my podcast, it comes from the top of the head, it comes from the heart, it comes from the spirit, it comes from my mind, straight out, and everything. So ain't nothing scripted, ain't nothing planned. So the Automate Center to me is one of those. It is this quote right here: "When you give joy to others, because that's what they do." And my mother also, she's had a master degree in what is it? Fitness. I'm sorry, kinesiology. Kinesiology. Sorry, mom, if I messed it up. And she focused on fitness and health and nutrition. That is her niche. And this has been there for years. I've seen her be able to take people with 400 pounds, overweight, obese, going through, these, hypertension and diabetes, and able to help them live more healthier lives. That's all I'll say, because it ain't about diet. I already know that, even though, I'll probably eat bad now, but it's not about dieting. It's about a lifestyle change. And she has helped so many people in doing that within their lives, and then restoring their confidence, restoring the ability to be able to feel like they're worth something and believe in themselves. Um, she has dance groups. The Item Center has dance groups where, if I'm talking about from kids, they used to have older men's dance group, and also she has, for older ladies, and it keeps them moving, it keeps them going, it keeps them active, because as you get older, your bones, your joints don't move as good as they used to. And They do that by praise, worship, dancing. I guess ballet. My dad, she has the Item Center has a dance studio in it, and she teaches old, young, and old, and it allows, especially the older, and even those that have been cured from cancer, to be able to stay active and also praise God at the same time and do things that they enjoy doing. It's fellowship, it's education, and it's coping and it's healing. And this inspirational quote right here signifies that when you give joy to other people, you get more joy in return. That is the morning inspiration. You guys go ahead, jot it down, put it in your notes, and just go ahead and go back and reflect on that. Reflect and ask yourself, what type of joy do you give people? And even if you haven't been giving joy to people, guess what? You know what the wonderful thing is? You can change. It's never too late to change. It's never too late. Yesterday was yesterday. Let's leave tomorrow in the past and focus on the future and live in the present. Focus on the future, and you, because you can plan and focus on the future, but you live for today, and you can make changes right now as we speak. If you have not given joy to people, and if you have just been maybe a toxic tyrant, you can change that. Change is good, y'all. Change is good. Now let's go ahead and go move on to the music pick of the day. All right, the music pick of the day. And yesterday I did the Poets Corner. Today is the music pick of the day because yesterday was Valentine's Day. So the music pick of the day goes to Killer Mike. Killer Mike just won 3 Grammys, Grammy-winning rap artist. Killer Mike pretty much rap career, music career wasn't, I ain't gonna say dead, but it wasn't very relevant. It wasn't, on top of the charts or anything. So from what I've read is that he really took time to make this album that he came out with. And I ain't gonna lie, I slept on it because there's right, in my mind, I'm 45 years old. My era of hip hop, I still feel is the best, whether you believe it or not. The substance, the music, the creativity, um, just the aura of that era when I came up, man. I still think it is the greatest as of right now, and it may go down as the golden era. Um, Killer Mike, man, I just listened to it. I was listening to it a little bit yesterday and some today, and and I'm an artist myself. Regardless if I'm still making music or not, like the album is really solid to me. And it might not be some of y'all forte, because some of y'all, rap this and rap that, but I mean, that's the era I grew up in. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know where I'm gonna say this. I don't know where I would be without if it wasn't hip hop. I can't imagine growing up in it. I don't know, because so when hip hop came in and I started to listen to it, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is me. I even went through my Tupac phase. And that's another day, another story. But let me go ahead and I'm gonna play you guys a couple of tracks from the new Killer Mike album that won 3 Grammys. Killer Mike won Hip Hop Album of the Year, Performance of the Year, and I believe Record of the Year. He swept it, and that says a lot. That says a lot. I know even with all the mainstream rap that y'all are hearing, and you guys are like, man, this is some of the older people. This is garbage, and there's no substance in it. What are they saying? What are they talking about? And everything. And like I said, you might still not like him because this is what I look at. We have to understand in music, any genre in the music, artists, when they speak, they write, and they sing on things that they have experienced. It is their what? They're painting their portrait to the world or to the audience. So even though we may not like the delivery, I can't tell a person that grew up in I think he said Flat Rock, Flatbush, or something of that nature of ATL, and in poverty or in the projects, and you tell this person not to speak like this. Now I got it. When you become of age, you become of knowledge, and you start to learn and become wiser, you try to get away from that. But this is what I understand. I meet people where they at. I don't try to look down and judge like, man, come on, who am I? I've been fortunate by the grace of God to be in great conditions and environments and living and being able to be raised by two sound, intelligent parents. But I do know, like even my roots, even though people are like, are you people from Detroit? But I got some very intelligent people in my family, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. If I tell y'all what we did, y'all be like, that's a family from Detroit. You'd be surprised. All right. Don't get caught up in the top five murder capital and stuff like that. Don't get caught up in that. But anyways, let me go on. I'm gonna stay on point. I'm gonna stay on point. Um, so let me go ahead and go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and switch over and get that music for you guys, and we're gonna take a break right quick, and I'm gonna come back with that music. Okay. All right. Just hold on right quick, man. Let's do that. All right, I'm back now. All right, I want y'all this track right here by Killer Mike that I picked. It's called Scientists and Engineers featuring Future Andre 3000. So here we go. We're gonna check it out. Y'all check it out, man. Too much that I can communicate with all of them. Andre 3000, man. I think he's coming back too. Who to say when all in? All I know is when the portrait painted, better have your portion of the rent. $1 more and you will get upgraded when you think you've made it. You are then just tolerated, overrated. Hope I'm 80 when I get my second win. Small potatoes, all I ate before potato chips will cut my corner lips. You connect me to a sip. A sacred is having your camera, cameo, having your hands full of hits. A stamina, stampede of happenings, dabbling into a blip. Neon, yes, be honest, you promise that you will live. Don't tell us ever forget. Put your must feel like a kid. You come up and make a trip. You jump on and hit a split. Hoopers don't really do shit. It's like an itch. Oh. Shit, like TikTok. The streets in your head, like. What you like doing? Yo. I hit a African chant from the background. Yeah. She never been to the computers and robbers and loaders with shooters with brokers and shooters with brokers. See people, my tutors and my tutors talking terrible. You get Latinos still killing America. We celebrate like Captain America. Fuck it, I'm with it, let's get it. This nigga and Nicholas and Bentley have so I'm never chilling. I gotta make millions. I used to be done with the dealing, but I got a ceiling, and we know the usual killing. Niggas get rich, go killing, go stitching, and fuck up the family. I go to Germany, army a couple of million, return with a couple of men. I'll go to Brazil and just kicking and shit till I'm over the hill and still fucking on me. The work got the mercy, so show like mercy with me, it just can't be no next. 100% authentic. See, I got no So let me go ahead and stop that right quick, man. That one is called, like I said, scientists and engineers, man. And I don't know if you guys caught what they were really talking about and how they were. So, artistry, man, and creativity and music, it's all about it's it's a it's art. That's why we call them artists. How can I capture you and be able to paint? How can I be able to paint my thoughts, my vision, my world, so you can be able to understand it? That's what an artist is. And they're artists, with Andre 3000, Future, Killer Mike. As you listen to that song, Scientists and Engineers, it has a hint of the chanting of the motherland, Africa. You hear it? Andre 3000 with his creativity in his delivery, with his lyrics and how they combine to understand how they combine into his phrases and context. And he talks about eating potatoes and everything. Basically, talks about being young before he made it in poverty, and all they ate was potatoes. And if you can relate to that, or even just understand that, scientists and engineers. And then you got to listen to the full song because I don't want to give it all away. I really want y'all to go stream it, download it if you want to, and listen to Killer Mike. And the album is called, if you guys, it's called Michael. Killer Mike's real name is Michael. So what he's doing is the only a true musician artist will really will understand. He has taken you back into his roots and everything up to now of this day and time that he is living. He is taking you back to what he's been through, where he's came from, how he sees the world or how he saw it then, and to where he is now. I'm telling you, man, the album is dope. And I can pick. I'm a this one right here. It's called Shed Tears. I'm just gonna play a little snippet. I'm so eager. It's been a greeting for just 4 times as many of you. Same as you, I guess. Except in a much better way. You're calling me a child, man. Well, none of us. I'm a team. Team. Well, I'm not playing Here you go. So that album, that track right there, that record is called Shed Tears. So in the beginning when he comes on, he talks about his mother. He talks about the struggle. He talks about he's taking you into the mind and understanding like his mom raising him and his siblings and dropping them off at the day. Man, I'm telling you, man, the album is dope, man. And as you can hear the tune, you hear the melody in the background, the lady singing. That's the cries of the woman, a single woman raising and a single mother raising their children through the struggles, right? And I'm telling you, man, I'll break down some music now. Don't get so stuck. Don't get so stuck on like, oh, he coach Kirkland back. Come on, man. Much more than that, man. Y'all didn't even know that. I just let y'all see what y'all want to see, what I want you to see. I want you to know of me. Put it like that. But let's go ahead and move on. Give a shout out to this the MRK music pick of the day. Killer Mike, 3-time Grammy winning rap artist. Congratulations. The album is definitely dope. I haven't even finished reading, listening to all the tracks on here. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and deep dive into that when I get an opportunity to. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. And the next thing we're gonna move on to is the shout out of the day. You know, I give a shout out to someone or a group of people each and every day on through Mondays and Fridays when I do this podcast, because I want to be able to make sure that, that people get their flowers. A lot of times we wait till they die. We wait and it's too late. Until we die, we don't know if they're hearing us or not. We are praying and we are hoping and we have the faith that they still are seeing and hearing and all that good stuff. But shoot, sometimes, I want them to see everything you're doing, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, my shout out goes to all that have had their life taken because of racism. I'm going to say it again. The shout out of the day goes to everyone that has had their life taken because of racism. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it hurts my heart. It irritates me, pisses me off. I don't like racist people. I don't like racist individuals. I don't like people that discriminate. I don't like the people that is prejudiced. Anything in that circle, they say not to hate, but I do hate that. I hate it and I despise it. Do you know since I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys something, right? Because I have a full list of 229 black people killed by police since Floyd's murder. Now, understand this: when I speak on this, right, I'm not saying all police officers are racist. I know this. I had 2 police officers in my family. My great late aunt, she was a police officer. She was on 48 Hours, and I have a cousin, police officer, detective of the Detroit Police Department. So, but what I'm saying is, it's too many. And what I'm saying, and so we can go back on when I say shout out to those that have been killed by racism. We can go back to, the lynchings. I don't know those people. I'm quite sure there was a lot. We can go back to man, had a brain cramp. Yeah, he has his cassette. His stuff is in the African American Museum in Washington D.C. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and people can say it maybe wasn't racially motivated, but it's too many. Any one is too many. See, it said at least 229 black people have been killed by police officers across the U.S. in the years since George Floyd. We all are, so we'll say that it allegedly they are because of race or some type of discrimination in regards to that. Right? So, and in this article, it says today marks the 1-year anniversary of Floyd's death. after Minneapolis police officers direct Chauvin pressed his knees into Floyd's neck more than 9 minutes as he gasped for air, prompting widespread protest calls for a change in the U.S. policing. However, data shows police have continued to kill Black people at similar rates to previous years. Now, some people can, combat this. Some people can turn a blind eye to this. Some people cannot, they can ignore it or act as if it doesn't exist, but it exists. Because it just didn't, like, stuff like this just didn't start. History tells you that it's been here. History tells you that it's been here. So it goes on to say, Sinyai Way added, excluding unknown race records, Black people make up a similar portion of people killed out of the total number of killings as in the past years. So they have a list of 229 Black people who have been killed by police officers, racially alleged. It's 229, which is crazy. And this is why I shout them out, of course, because they had no business losing their life. And we can probably dig up each and every one of those 229, and they probably have files on it and information on what happened and all that stuff and reports. But we all know 229 people didn't have to die. And then for them dying, it was initiated. More likely, it was initiated, and they were put in that situation because of their race. Because of their race. So let's give a shout out to each and every one of them that their life was taken, because nobody on this earth has a right to take anyone's life. Like, you are not God. So when you decide to put yourself in a position to act as God, I would say you're wrong. Now, there's situations of self-defense, understood. But most of these people in these cases, right, wasn't that. Because we all know that the police officers are in a position of authority and have usually the upper hand. We all know a lot of these cases have happened when the person that is deceased now was not armed of any threat, So let's give a shout out to them, to all that have fallen, that have lost their life because of, I say, racism. And I know I'm speaking with, about the 229, but that's just something that I just pulled up and everything. But if I probably pull up more, it's going to be more. That's what we know of, 229 since George Floyd. So imagine of how many of those that got killed for whatever the racial, because of the racial cloud put upon them, because of their race, because of their color. It would probably be enormous, and it'd probably be pretty much ridiculous. All right. So shout out to all those that have fallen. All right. So let's go ahead and keep it moving, y'all. We go to the Black History fact. The Black History fact is African Americans took great pride in making the following generations unable to be enslaved and had higher marriage rates than white Americans. That is a fact. That is an actual fact. And some say, well, how could that be? Because it's not like that now. It's not like that now. There's a lot of factors that took place for that not to be. You have the misplace of the fathers, of the men in the home. So therefore, of course, Marriages are not there, and the family dynamics in the Black community is broken. Now, you may say in your circle and in the environment that you live in, you don't see that. But understand this, 13 to 14% we make up of the American population. We only make up 13 to 14% of the American population. So when you look at that, that is a very small percentage of the people in America. Then you break it down to how many men are actually in the homes with their children. That becomes, now the number becomes, I'm telling you, y'all, it becomes astonishingly lower. See, this fact comes from back then. And think about it. Everything has to go back to the root cause, right? Us as Africans or ancestors of the African continent was brought over here by on the slave ships and integrated into the colonial area, because it wasn't America yet. When they track back to the first slave ships arriving to what is known as now as America, we were broken. Our ancestors was broken from their families at that time. And we fought to stay together. But you know how I get. We came over here, families got broken up, kids got sold, fathers got sold, mothers got sold. But as we came out of slavery, I'm just trying to put things into context for you guys. Maybe you are very well versed and educated, and maybe you can enlighten me even more. All right. But as we came out of the slavery time and got emancipated in 1860, after the Civil War, 63, something like that, we still was displaced as the whole, right? So from then on, the goal was for us Blacks to stay together, and we made families, and we also married because we stayed on our slave masters' plantations and stuff, because we didn't have nowhere to go, we didn't have no education, we didn't know what we was going to do and everything. So again, we made home there. We stayed at where we knew to be home, right? And they gave us jobs working for the pennies and stuff like that and everything. And we began to build our homes and rebuild our families. And we got married because they jumped the broom and all that good stuff. And that's all they knew. See, we wasn't, as a people, we wasn't doing what goes on today. We wasn't making families without the man in the home. And I'm going to talk about this on another podcast. We wasn't making same gender homes and taking the man out of the home. And therefore, there was no fathers in the home. I smirk because it's mind-boggling. Just my opinions. That's all it is, just talking real. But it says African Americans we took great pride in making unions. We took great pride in being together. We took great pride in sticking together as a family, legally following generations of being unable to do so. So I just spoke of that. So while enslaved and had higher marriage rates, we still had higher marriage rates, which is mind-boggling. So that's the Black history fact. So if we understand where we come from, understand our roots and where we are today and how things are going and moving in what direction, and you look at the small percentages of families actually being together, understand this. The key thing in this, it says higher marriage rates, meaning man and woman was getting married, having kids, having a family, staying together generation after generation. This is no longer happening anymore because of so many different things that takes into account. So many different variables that comes into play But I'm just speaking the facts. That's why I said Black History fact, if you didn't know that. So we pride ourselves as a Black community on marriage, union, and family. I'm just saying, y'all. Real talk, y'all. Real talk. So let's go ahead today. We're going to move on to the hot topic of the day. The hot topic of the day is racism in America. Disclaimer, if I offend anybody, all you have to do is click off, move on to something else, slide up, swipe right, left or right, however, whatever social media you on or you're seeing me, whatever. If you don't like my topics or my discussion, or you're too afraid to even listen and discuss what it is that goes on in the reality of the world that we live in, not in the fantasy in your mind or in your dreams. So yes, there is still racism in America. Racism is just changed in a different way, because people that are racist, people that are feel like they of inferior and superior, they just know how to change it and hide it and mask it. We're gonna talk about that. That's the hot topic for today. Ask yourself, man, there's racism in America? Yes, it is. There's racism in so many different facets, in so many different places, in so many different ways that is pitiful. Like I said earlier, racism, I hate it. I don't like it. I despise it. I despise it. So let's talk about racism and how it is in America. I'm sorry, hold on. Here we go. All right, so I got some information that I want to share with y'all. And I want y'all to really open up your ears, open up your mind, open up your heart, and to be able to receive this information, right? So 7 ways American racism is alive and well today. It's well and alive today, if you haven't realized that, right? So racism is it's an American problem, and it's based on many different, research reviews and just the facts of, prior researchers, right? So I'm gonna give you 7 factors contributing to racism in the United States of America today, based off these researchers, right? So it talks about American racism alive and well begins right in this article, which arrives during the time of heightened attention to the racial injustice in the United States. See, that's for another day. See, if you really think about it, we are so divided as a country because of the hidden underlying racial political agenda. See, people often define racism as disliking or mistreating others on the basis of race. That definition is just totally wrong, right? It's just totally wrong. So understand this: racism, it's a system of advantage based off your color, your skin color. It is a hierarchy. It is a pandemic. Racism is so deeply embedded within the U.S. minds and U.S. society that it's virtually impossible to escape. Because you know why it's impossible to escape? You know why? Because it's taught. And if it's taught generation to generation to generation, and it's inbreeded in the families that teach it, it will never go away. Until we are able to X out all the families and individuals that is willing to teach it, that wants to teach it, racism will always be here. And why is racism so deeply rooted in America? We know why. America was built off of racism. Stop running from the fact that it was. Stop running from the fact that it was. Do you understand, when we recognize the issues and the problems and we, admit to them, we're able to solve them even better and be able to move on to bring up and implement great solutions to the problems that we have? Come on now. We got all these intelligent people, all these smart people, but because of racism, we can't get past it. See, it says researchers write that just as citizens, capitalistic societies reinforce capitalism, whether they identify as capitalists or not, and whether they want to or not. Citizens of racist societies reinforce racism, whether they identify as racist or not, and whether they want to or not. Whether you want to or not, or you believe that you are or not, and you believe that you do the acts and discriminate because of somebody's race, guess what? You are a racist. After examining research on racism from psychology, the social sciences, and the humanities, that research argues that American racism systematically advantages white Americans and it disadvantages Americans of color, but that it does not have to. It doesn't have to. It all starts with awareness. That's what I'm talking about. You know, just when you ignore it, those that don't believe it, you're doing more harm to the cause. You understand that? When you say that it don't exist, how can you tell me as a black African man in America that has lived for 45 years that it don't exist, right? My perception is my reality. So if it has happened to me, I have either been discriminated against or being black, male, black, whatever. It exists. See, so many people, especially white people, they understand that the depths of racism says, right? Postdoctoral fellow at the New York University and Beyond Conflict Innovation Lab. This is what he said, right? A lot of attention, quote, quote, is rightfully put on the recent murders of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and far too many others. But people need to understand that those horrific events are consequence of a larger system. We want readers to walk away with a better understanding of how that system works. So what he's saying is, when I'm putting information out, trying to educate the public and educate the communities and the environment we live in this world that we live in, right? Trying to educate, trying to give you awareness, right? So so we're gonna talk about these 7 facts. There's, like I remember I told y'all, 7 factors of racism in America. The first one is categories, right? Which organize people into the distinct groups. That's one of the reasons, right? Racism puts people in groups already. You separate them, whether you do it with a group of people or you do it on your own. When you distinctly put people in groups and separate them from each other to say that this person is what? Less than me? I am better than them because of whatever economic status, educational level. And then when you add color involved in that, guess what? You add racism. Factions, that's number 2. Factions, it triggers in-group loyalty and intergroup competition. Factions triggers in-group loyalty. It triggers the in-group factions. So you have to be loyal to the group that you belong to. So you have to develop the loyalty for each other. So and then also enter the humane and in the racial groups, there become intergroup competitions, which is, and number 3, segregation, which hardens racist perceptions, preference, and beliefs. When you segregate individuals, right, and you have these different beliefs and thoughts about them, it makes them hard, unempathetic, and makes them believe that they are better. See, simply put, the U.S. systematically constructs racial categories, places people inside of those categories, and segregates people on the basis of those categories, which is crazy. For example, I'm gonna give you an example, right? The example is there is a considerable body of research showing that people, adults, and children alike tend to feel and act more positively toward those they consider to be like them and their in-group. This means that they are likely to treat people from outside of their social circles less favorably, saying that we naturally do it. So now let's become aware of it. Let's try to find ways to put a stop and an end to it so we can help this world and this country that we live in that is so racist. But I'm gonna tell you, I've been to other countries because I was in the Army for 24 years. And I'm gonna be honest. Now, there's places besides America that is racist too, but there are a lot of places that is not America that treat me better than the country that I was born in. Facts. For many white Americans, their in-groups do not include Black Americans. Part of the reason for this has to do with America's fraught history of racial segregation, which kept white and Black communities separate. We started separate from the time that we colored Black individuals were brought on these slave ships and ingrained into this land. We were segregated from jump start. So people that don't believe that this goes on, that racist people exist and racism exists, it exists from the time that we were put on here. Guess what? We have been segregated. We have been split apart. And from the beginning of the origin of Black people in America, they have told us that we were beneath them from the beginning. Robert and Rizzo points to the studies demonstrating the amount of exposure a child has to other racial groups earlier in life affects how they will think about, act towards those groups when they are adults. Truth. It's the truth. More research also shows that children are more attuned to faces of the racial majority group. That is, Black children are better at recognizing white faces than white children are at recognizing Black faces. See, this disparity can have tragic real-world consequences in a criminal line of instance. Not being able to recognize Black faces paired. I just dropped a nugget there, y'all. Do y'all understand that? Y'all ever heard the joke of all Black people look alike? So when they have to point you out in the lineup, or when they pick you up from the whatever you're doing on the street because that's the description that they gave of you, and they go pick up the first Black man that they see because all Black people look alike, it speaks on that. Black children are better at recognizing white faces than white children are recognizing Black faces. This is a disparity, and it can have tragic real-world consequences. Criminal lineups, for instance, it states that. Paired with biased preferences and beliefs, increase the odds that an innocent Black suspect will be misidentified as the perpetrator of a crime. Y'all don't believe this go on, but it does. I mean, shoot, just the fact that, because this is why it is dangerous being Black in America. It's because when those that have those mindsets of being racist and discriminatory towards us, when they see a Black man, they see something else. They don't see, man, this man is a good dude. This is a good heart, man. This man can be educated. They don't see that. They don't see that, man. So let me go on, right? And the last 4 are 7 factors, right? Let's talk about the last 4. Hierarchy, which emboldens people to think and feel and behave in a racist way. When you feel as if you're in a hierarchy, you feel above everyone of those that you feel above. So therefore, you treat them indifferently. You treat them with lack of respect. Power, which legislates racism on both micro and macro levels. In the power, I can do this because who I think I am. Then also the media plays a part in this too, which legitimatize, represented, and idealize representation of white Americans while marginalizing and minimizing people of color. And passivism, such that overlooking or denying the existence of racism encourages others to do the same. When you deny, I spoke on that earlier, when you ignore, when you think that it doesn't exist, you are pretty much encouraging it, or you're just playing the game as if you don't. The naiveness. I've seen this happen. What are you talking about? No, I would never do that. No, come on. Let's stop it. So in short, they argue that the U.S. position in empowering some over others reinforces those differences through biased media and then leaves those disparities in media in place. Of the 7 factors they identify, perhaps the most insidious is passivism, passive racism. According to the scholars, this includes an apathy toward system of racial advantage or denial that those systems even exist. Systems of racial advantage. All right. I'm just saying, man. So how do we move on from that? Let's go to the question of the day. What does the question of the day say about that? See, the question of the day is, why is America so racist? I think we probably pretty much hit on that. Why is it so racist? It's racist because from the beginning, they were told that they were inferior over us. It's racist because America was built off of segregation, separateness, and power, and inferiorness. That's why America is so racist. America is so racist because it is being taught, and it's continuing to being taught and taught and taught down to each generation that comes along. It is so racist because there are a lot of people that of power that are of the non-colored black race that are in these positions, holding these positions down. That's why America is so racist. It's so racist because we don't understand each other. It's so racist because we continue to look down on the next person that is not like us. What I don't understand is what I fear. And what I fear is what I don't understand. So ask yourself that question yourself. Why is America so racist? You ask yourself that. Why is America so racist? I'm gonna leave y'all with that. This coffee's good. I'm gonna leave y'all with that for the day. We're gonna get out of here and close this up. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Real Talk with MRK, Coffee in the Morning. And in closing, be a joy to others. Black people, let's get back to having solid together Black families and Black marriages and unions. Let's do all you can to get rid of racism in America. Do your part. Don't be oblivious to it. It's there. It's here. So let's try to find a solution to it. and ask yourself this question: why is America so racist? I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. I'm Martez Raphael Kirkland. This is Real Talk with MRK. Coffee in the morning. You guys have a blessed day, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna wrap up the week this Friday, man. Until next time, man.